Okay, we're back, and here's the current status of our Mack truck, DM-600 Mack. Again, this is from MPC. This is an MPC kit. This is not the AMT Mack truck. They are similar, I guess. I don't know. I've never purchased the AMT truck. I just wanted to show you a couple of things. So I've got some paint on it. We have the cab interior done. Came out like this. And again, for black on scale models, I use NATO black. This is Tamiya color, TS63 NATO black. And the reason for that is that it's more like a faded black. If you use a solid black, matte black, gloss black, whatever, it's just too harsh, and for a scale model, it makes it look a little bit toy-like to my eye. So I like the NATO black. I use it on every scale model when I need a black look for an interior, cockpit interior, truck cabs, whatever. So that's what I use, and that's what this is done in. There's just a few accent colors. This is just a essentially it's a primer gray. This is a utilitarian truck, so we're not getting fancy really on the interior. Now the exterior is a different story. I got a little fancy, I guess. I don't know. We came up with a two-tone color, two-tone paint scheme, racing white and British green, nice dark hunter green. Putting the windows in, I have the front windshield and rear window glass or plastic in. We just do that with white glue. The front window is pretty well cured. The rear window is just now beginning to cure. So the way I put that in is I use a paintbrush, a fine brush with white glue on it. This is not the brush I used, but there it is. So we use a fine brush like this, and we just add the use Elmer's white glue. Just pour out a dab of it and apply it to the brush tip. You want to wet the brush before you dip it into the glue, just a little bit. You just want about that much of a wetness on the brush, and just paint around the opening with the white glue, and then set the part in. And once that cures up, you're going to come back and hit it again. You'll just same thing, wet brush, drop of white glue, and then just paint around the edges of the plastic, of the clear plastic, and just paint all the way around the edges of it. And what that does is the initial layer of white glue is just going to tack and hold the the window piece in place. And again, you want that to solidify, and then you come back and you really lay it around the edges of that part, and that just seals it in there for good. 2 applications of the white glue on a wet brush, and that's gonna set it up real well. Now for the side windows, as you see, the windshield wraps around and takes care of the wind wings, the sides here. But these windows, what I'll probably do is I'll just take those parts that came with the kit as a template and use clear acetate sheet, and I'll cut half pieces. I want the windows to appear to be rolled halfway down. So that's how we'll do that. We'll use the acetate. If you try to cut this heavier plastic, this stuff, with a razor saw, you get that cracking and a little bit of a white edge, and I don't want that. So we'll just replace them with just a real thin acetate like you get in packaging. Like I don't have an example of it here I'd show you, but that's how we're going to do the side windows. I'm going to model them as if they were rolled almost all the way down, 3/4 down. This cab does not have air conditioning. Typically the truck cabs get pretty hot with the engine half inside the cabin here. So the windows are typically going to be rolled down. on a working truck. All right, so that's where we're at on the paint. So this is our two-tone paint on the cab, and this is our two-tone on the hood. Hopefully, when we get these parts onto the truck, they'll line up. The way we're going to do this is we're going to hang the. Really is a tough fit there. Here we go. We're going to hang the hood onto the frame first, and then we'll make the cab fit behind it. But this is that's about how she should fit on there. Nice and tight. It's actually a really good fit. There. So anyway, that's our two-tone paint. On the mud flaps, there was an issue with these mud flaps. All the ejector locations in the four corners were really raised up. And so I did what I could to shave them down. Not a very good job, but two of them turned out all right, I guess. And only the lower portion is going to show once we get these glued up underneath the rear fairings. The top half will be pretty much invisible, but the lower half. So these two at the bottom on these two, I tried to do as good as I could. And then what I did was I took tape and just laid in a piece of my masking tape inside of the border, and then trimmed around it with the razor with my X-Acto knife. So this has a piece of tape over it, and that enhances, it does a couple of things. One, it sort of enhances the texturing that goes on here. It's a thin tape, so it conformed pretty well over the Mack and Mack truck Bulldog logo. I mean, not great, but okay. And then it also sort of blended the imperfections in the plastic a little bit. So that's what I did. I used the tape to kind of soften those, or hide those a little bit better, those ejector pin marks. And that kind of worked. And then I just used a bit of white paint rubbed on with a brush, and then I used the green to trim around it, green paint around it on the same brush, just to better define the edges around the word Mack. So that's how those are done. These will be the two that go on the back end of the truck, and these will be the two that go under the front end here of the fairings. All right. Let me think. Is there anything else we can talk about? Overall, this is a nice looking model. You see the radiator actually shows behind the hood. I think I am going to put that bull bar on the front. It's not really a bull bar, it's just a bumper extension here. And what I'll do is I'll probably just paint that hunter green. Paint it hunter green, and then I'll just take a little bit of light sandpaper to it to bring back some of the chrome just behind it. Look at it like as if it were scuffed. You see, I sort of did the same. I didn't paint it, but on the fifth wheel, it comes with a chromed fifth wheel, and rather than stripping it or painting over it, I just took 600 grit sandpaper to it and kind of scuffed it up the way it would look. You can see, I don't know how it looks on camera, but it kind of darkened around the outside here, just brought out the black plastic that's chromed onto, and I just wanted to bring that out in places like would be typical with wear. And so that's what we did there, and I think that turned out really good, better than anything I could have painted onto it. For the radiator, on the back side here, behind the fan, I just I used a silver Sharpie and just brought out the grill there on the back side. The front side is painted. We just masked it off and spray painted it with a nice aluminum paint. Right, so let's see, I think that pretty well covers the update. And this pattern I saw in a American Truck Simulator. It was a kind of sort of like this. It was striping, but it wasn't as broad. I think there were 5 kind of pin stripes in white that you could apply. I like these broader white stripes. think that accents the wheel fenders pretty good with that green and white. So what's left to do? Well, I need to trim out the hood. We need to apply the Mack lettering over the grill, the two side logos, the turn signals, and the headlamps. Oh, and the headlamps. So I'm going to leave them chrome. I painted the actual headlights white using poster paint. That's again, that's kind of a Sharpie product here. So it's paint. It has a nice broad tip, and you gotta kind of shake the hell out of it to get it to the pigment to mix. But anyway, that's what you end up with, a nice white. So we'll just pop those in straight like that as they are. Trim them up so they fit, and we'll drop those in. So we're trimming out the hood. Once I get the hood trimmed out, I'll mount it onto the truck, and then once that's all cured, I'll trim out we'll install the cab interior to the cab, and we'll put all the dress-up parts on it, or some of them, not all of them, because in fitting, you got to be careful not to knock things loose. So I think I'll just install the interior and maybe put all the trim pieces on after it's installed. But the hood, I want to get that done before I stick it on the truck, just so I can handle it a lot more, to make sure I get all these little bits and pieces in there nice and square. The truck is square. I didn't have any problems with the frame. The frame is not twisted. I guess it's contrary to some other experiences that I witnessed on the YouTube channel. A couple of guys who had built the truck had issues with the frame being warped or twisted, and I just didn't have that experience. I guess I'm lucky. As you can see, these wheels are done up in white. I put the green hubs on the rears, and then we just kind of dirtied them up with the panel line accent black. I don't want the truck to be too beat. It's actually going to look pretty fresh, relatively new looking. It's not because I prefer that so much as it is that I'm not very good at weathering. So I don't really do a lot of it. You can see the engine's got some of the same product doused onto it. I just wanted to accent the seams and kind of dirty the engine up just a little bit, within my wheelhouse to do so. And so I'm still working out which bumper to throw in the front. I might cut the other one down and stick it on the back below. So we might cut it off and just stick the section below here, like this. Cut off here and here. If I do that, I'll probably paint it yellow and then mark off some diagonal stripes and then hit it with black paint so that we get the black and yellow diagonal kind of construction zone striping, the yellow stripes going this way and yellow stripes going this way against a black bumper. I might do that. I mean, if I add this piece, that's how I'll do it. I'm not sure I will, though. I think I might just leave it plain the way it is here. And the other bumper obviously goes on the front end. This is the hood keeper that goes on the other side of the frame to hold the hood in place so that it can tilt. We have a couple of hoses here to add, and then all the bits and pieces of the mirrors. I'm going to paint the backs of the mirrors. Where are they? I'm going to paint those hunter green to match the truck. I think that looks better than the solid chrome. Yeah, we'll use the Mack mirrors and just paint these green on the back sides here. The tread steps that go into the fuel tanks, I'm going to paint those green and then sand them just slightly to bring back some of the silver chrome. I don't know if I'm going to use this heat shield on the stack. If I do, I'll probably paint it black or blacken it and stick it on there. Not sure how well it'll fit to the aluminum tubing I've substituted there. The other thing I thought I might do is just make one out of cardstock. Just cut a piece of cardstock and shape it like this and glue it on there. Paint it either a silver or kind of a blackened silver. You know, put sprayed silver and then brush on some gunmetal, or brush on some of the panel line enhancer, something like that. We'll take a look and see how that looks. I think once I get the truck completed and decide whether or not I want to do that. We still need to have the taillights. You know, as I said, all the small pieces still need to be attached. We got to do the cab lighting and the horns. So lots of work yet to do. And you know, the big thing here is waiting, letting that white glue dry. I'm not going to touch anything else or try any assembly until probably tomorrow. I'm going to let that have 24 hours. And at that, I'll probably come back and add another application of the white glue with the brush around the outsides of that part. I really don't want those parts to come loose. As you can see, they've gone in there pretty clean. The glass has, and you know, I don't want to have to redo that. That's one of the stories of my life, is putting windows into these things and then poking them through with my fingers as I'm working on the rest of the build. I don't want that here, so I'm going to take extra care. Great. So I'll post this video up, and then probably there'll be one last one as it's completed, as we get to the reveal and finish it off. All right. Have a good day.